Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Harold Greene. I'm the Employer Relations Manager, and today I'll be covering payroll reporting and demographics. Before I get started, we do have a small announcement that I need to make. Many of you probably have forms that belong to the not belong, but you save forms on your desktop that are PSPRS forms. I'm guilty of it. We've just gone through and did an upgrade on all of our forms. So if you have any forms on your desktops in your work area, please delete those and then go back into the website and download the current forms. There's a lot of updates to the forms. If we receive any outdated forms, I've been told to tell you that they are going to return them to you. So make sure you send the updated forms to us, okay? So let's get started with what I'll be covering today. I'm going to start with a few questions that appear quite often from our employers. And then from there, I'm going to go into the membership form, which is also known as the P1 form. The employee lookup, which is in the employer portal. I'll be discussing that as well. Demographics manual page, also in the employer portal. Some contribution reporting. Resolutions to some common errors that our employers do get in the contribution files. And then also payroll reporting and then Wells Fargo eBill Express. So I'm actually going to start with some questions that I've received most recently from some of our employers. Should the membership form be sent back to PSPRS? What tier is a member in? Just curious. Then I reply back, please send me the member's name and last four of their social security number and I'll help you out with that. So I'm going to show you where you'll be able to find some of that information as well. Why can't I complete the demographics page for a particular employee? We're going to kind of show you what's causing that, where you can look, how to correct some of that as well as we go through it. And then the last one is why can't I contribute, or why can't contributions be uploaded for an employee? That's relating back to the demographics page as well, and we'll discuss that also. Excuse me. So we're going to start with the membership form. Most of you have seen this. If you're not, this is the P1 form that a lot of people just like to call it instead of the membership form. So whatever you prefer. On the left side of the screen, what you're seeing is the actual part that the member is going to fill out on the top section. Just down below that, there's going to be a small part that you, the employers, are going to fill out as well. Now, the most important part probably for our member, besides their personal information, is the second page, which is on the right side of the screen. That is for the member's beneficiary, who they would wish to have on file with PSPRS should something happen to them. We have it on file. So why is it important that the membership form for each employee be sent to PSPRS? Is it A, for records keeping purposes, B, verification of information provided from you, the employer, and the member in the employer portal and the member demographics page, update the member's beneficiary, or is it D, all of the above?
All of the above.
Thank you. For those of you that answered D, you are correct. It is all of the above. And the reason for that is that, once again, you send us the form, then we actually put it in the member's file in its history. So if there's any issues with maybe the date of birth, how the member spells their name, maybe we inputted their information wrong, maybe it came to PSPRS that way, we can always refer back to this form and update the particular member's account without having to bother the member. But most importantly to that member, once again, is the beneficiary. The only way that we can get that information is through the P1 form. PSPRS is responsible, and we do update that beneficiary from that P1 form. If we don't get that, then the member is going to have to turn around and fill out all the appropriate forms and then send them in to us. So if we can get it firsthand through the P1 form, then that helps the member a lot. We'll enter it into the system, on file from there on out. Now, staying in the employer portal, we're going to start looking at employee lookup. How can you tell if you have an existing employee that comes to you brand new? Are they already part of the retirement system, or are they just brand new to the retirement system and new to you as well? So once you're in your employer portal, on the left-hand screen is an example of it. You're going to enter the employee's name on it. You're going to enter the member's social security number. and also their date of birth, and you're going to click Find. On the right-hand side of the screen is an example of a member that we put in here just for this. They're already in the system. You can see that it provides their first and last name, their date of birth. It also provides what tier they're in. So if they're new to you, it could be a tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3 from an existing previous employer. Then you'll be able to see that information as well. However, if the screen comes back to you blank, which I couldn't show here and divide it up, it'd be too small, that means most likely you have a new employee to the PSPRS, not ASRS, PSPRS, so I apologize for that. Once you've checked and seen that the member is either in employee lookup or is not, now we're talking about the employer demographics page where you're going to update the information there as well. Updating the member's information regularly is important. It ensures that the member's information is accurate throughout our system. If inaccurate information is used or is entered in there, it could delay the enrolling of that member, which could jeopardize the 90-day election period that all new members have into the system. Inaccurate information may also cause contribution reporting errors. But most importantly to a member, we're talking about creating issues for their retirement benefits estimates, as well as if they decide to terminate and leave employment and refund, it could delay that refund as well because we don't have the accurate information from them and from the employer. We're still inside the employer portal, so we're getting to the actual demographics page. This is how you'll find the demographics page. Once you're in the employer portal, just hover over the employer portal portion, hover over the employer menu. Off to the right, you're going to see the demographics and then the demographics manual page, and you'll select that. And then that'll take us over to the fillable demographics page. The demographics manual page is the best way, once again, to maintain accurate information on a member. It's important that the employers regularly maintain member employment statuses such as leave without pay, quit term, maybe presidential call-up for the military folks, et cetera. You'll have leave without pay, you'll have your retirees, rehires. There's all the statuses that you'll need to update in there as well. This is the place to do it. You'll notice that once you get into the employer portal, I don't know if you can see it in this example, but you are going to have some red asterisks. Those are required fields that need to be filled in. What you're not going to see is next to the email address. For a new employee that's into the system, we need you to enter their email address into this particular area. It won't let you continue until you do. Now, we do ask that you use the personal email address of the member, and the reason why that is because if that member quits or is terminated, goes to work for somebody else outside the retirement, even if they don't, if they use their work email address, we have no way of contacting them, and they have no way of changing their passwords in their personal file or in their personal account if it's related back to the employer. So we ask that you use a personal email address on that. Now, this page can also be used to update a member status. We've highlighted it in red here for you. Once you've entered the information and you're going to change that status, then you'll just go ahead and change it to the appropriate status, and we'll cover those here in a minute. Then you'll just click Submit at that time, and it'll process that. Now, if you're just going to update the member's information, let's just say that a member, unfortunately, is divorced or had a name change, maybe they got married, that's a good thing, name change, then you would go in here, fill out the member's information, put their new names in, but do not put an effective date or a status in there, and then just hit Submit. The system will update without the employment statuses at that time. So just leave those two fields blank. Now we're going to talk about the actual employment statuses. We're going to concentrate on the quit/terminated. There's been a small increase in the amount of employers that call that say they can't enroll one of their new employees, the demographics information. For some reason, they put all this information in and nothing happens. I'm getting a few head nods, and I understand because I'm getting your emails, so I know where we're coming from with that one. So if you have an employee who quits or terminates, we understand that that happens. But when would you update the employment status to quit/terminated in the system when you have a member who actually terminates or you quits from you. Okay, so the demographics page, the actual portion of the employment status can be updated when you're within 14 days of submitting contributions to PSPRS. Why is that important? If you're on the receiving end of a new member, the frustration level is pretty high when you can't get that member in the system. But for one, it's allowing the other employer to update into their system, allows them to get their contribution files uploaded and get them in on time, especially when we go to the new system. If you don't have your contributions in on time, there could be interest added due to penalties and late charges for that. So for the employer that the individual's leaving, please update that if you're within 14 days of that contribution being uploaded, or if you're the receiving member or the receiving employer, we're working on changing all that to try to educate everyone to move forward with that. So now that you're familiar with the quit/terminated employment status, we're going to take a moment to look at a few other ones that employers have had some questions about. So this is just a listing of all of them in the member statuses, employment statuses. Most of you are familiar with it. If you're not, there's quite a few to choose from. The ones that have been most confusing lately for employers and for myself, just learning the job myself after being in here a year, is the military statuses, when to use them, when's the appropriate time to use those. So one that normally is not used at all is the non-presidential military leave contributing. That one's just not used, so kind of remove that. Now we're just working on two of them that's important at this time. The non-presidential military leave not contributing is used to put members into a non-contributing status, and when the employer has confirmed that leave is not tied to a presidential call-up, then you'll use this particular status. Now, presidential military leave, that's another one that confuses us. That's going to be somewhere in the members' orders that they receive. So you'll have to double check those orders looking for that presidential call-up on that one. You're going to use this to put them into a non-contributing status, and when the employer has confirmed that the leave is tied directly to the presidential call-up through the orders, that's when you'll use this particular one. Another one that rarely comes up is the hired EODC or the EORP legacy. Hired status is used when an employer is hiring a newly staffed, appointed elected official. So that's when you're going to use that one. In industrial leave, this has been coming up more and more lately, used when an employer has determined that a member will be on a non-paid or an unpaid leave and that the leave is directly tied to work-related industrial leave. And then we're moving on to contribution reporting. So contribution reporting is an easy step-by-step process. If a step is missed, our system won't let you continue. It's going to give you an error as well. Now, if you're looking for some training material to provide to new staff members, we do offer it on our public website under PSPRS. Once you're there, just click on the local boards and then continue over to the contribution rates and reporting, and you'll find all of the step-by-step procedures for uploading and creating your files as well. On the left-hand side, you're going to see that it's going to require you to select the employer. Once you've selected that, then you'll select the type of file that you're going to submit, whether it's a XLS or one of the other versions that are there available to you. Also, when you select that, when you're getting ready to upload that file, you'll also indicate whether you're going to break out the employer contributions into two separate files, or two separate rows, sorry about that. Under the DBCN contributions, the unfunded liability also under the ESPL, you can break those out, or you can combine them into one, depending on how your system's set up. Then you'll select your payroll date, and from there you're going to click Continue to Submission. And this is where you're going to either drag or search and upload your file into the file management. This is kind of just a little preview of what you have there. You're going to browse, of course, to find your file, select it, and upload it. Once it's uploaded, you're going to see this particular view. Also, if it's at the bottom there, If for some reason there is an error within your file, you may have something like row 1 is invalid. Please verify or modify that one. So that's telling you that it will not accept the file, that you need to fix whatever row is indicated in the report itself. Once you've made those corrections, then this is what you should get, except for that circle, red circle in the middle. We had to remove all that information just for today. But you'll see a clean file that's ready to be submitted to us. At this point, what you're going to do is just select your validate. Down at the bottom, lower left, you'll click on that one. And it's going to validate all the information in your file. Now, approving and accepting this. Once you've uploaded the file, we always recommend that you save the CSV file for the personal files of the employer. It allows you to go back and look at what particular errors were made, and we're going to get into those in here in just a minute when I mention the errors that it's going to allow you to take a look at. And once again, well, not once again, but when you're at this point, don't think that I've made an error, I'm in trouble, I submitted it. No, you haven't submitted anything. This is a point, you're not at a point of no return. You can quit, come back later after you fix the file, re-upload everything, and you'll be fine. Now, downloading the CSV file, this is what the CSV file looks like. If you were to have blue errors in here, all it's telling you is that our system made the corrections. You can still continue with the upload. This is for your records to make future corrections to the particular file for the next pay period. Now, downloading the CSV file does complete the audit trail from what you originally submitted to what our system validated, and then what is going to be invoiced. And then we're allowed to move into the next one would be previewing and accepting that invoice that you just submitted to us. So this is still a preview only. All activity up to this point, you can still throw out whatever you want to do, discard. You can use the prepaid funds if you have any available to you. Remember that these are only for the contributions themselves. Nationwide retirement system funds will actually need to be sent directly to Nationwide. Once you've reviewed and approved the file, then you're going to click I accept to complete that process. And once you click the I accept button, your contribution file will be uploaded and invoiced and will be generated based on the amounts and the credits shown in that system at that time. Now that you have all the member statuses up to date, there should be no reason or unexpected errors that would appear, but we'll briefly review some of the common errors that you may get prior to submitting that file to us. So resolutions for the common errors. If you receive one, contributions not found, you may want to take a look at possible missing contributions for that member. Also, missing contribution type. If you don't have the right type set up for that member, then it will also display that. Possibly a missing member or inaccurate contributory status as well. Unexpected contributions, you refer to, of course, unexpected contributions for that member. They shouldn't be sending in any contributions. Maybe they haven't reached their 91st day yet, or you have them in leave without pay, forgot to update that demographic status, the employment status itself. Just move it back to hired again, and then your file will be able to go through from there. Multiple contribution codes for one individual, you'll need to make sure that they're all accurate. And then the wrong tier or code assigned to that individual. Earlier I mentioned the blue and the red messages. Of course, the red messages, those are hard stops. It's not going to allow you to go any further in the system until you correct those. So once you've corrected those, then you can go through and re-upload the file. And then it should, hopefully, if everything goes well, you won't have any more red errors because you've corrected them. However, if you run across some blue errors, once again, our system allows you to go ahead and submit that. That's just meaning that we're auto-correcting your file for you, and then you can go back in and change all those for the next pay period. And some helpful information for you as far as where to locate all the information I've talked about or building up your files. Under contribution reporting, we have the step-by-step tutorials once again on our website that allow you to train your staff if you have new staff. I know a lot of you do. This will help you with that. So they're located under the local boards, contribution rates, and reporting on that. So in summary, so far what I've talked about today was the P1 membership form, when to send it to us, why we need it, mainly for the member's beneficiary. Employee lookup, determining what tier they're in, if they're brand new to the system or not. Using the demographics manual page, mainly concentrating on the employment statuses, ensuring that that is accurate in a timely manner. And then the red and blue messages, reds are hard stops, and blue allow you to continue on. And then the whole process isn't complete until you click I accept. And next we're going to talk about paying those bills through Wells Fargo eBill Express. And I know they've updated their website and had a few changes. Once you get to their website, you'll log in with your information. What they've changed is it allows you to put in either your employee ID, you can go in there with the employer name and look it up as well and pull up your account. This is one of the new screens in there if you haven't seen it yet. If you click on member services there to pay an invoice or click on the customer service to follow the prompts, it's very clear as far as getting to your invoices. To view past invoices, it's very simplifying that as well, and then the more detailed reports. And as I mentioned, this is a screen that's going to allow you to look and search for your employer. So you have a few options there to find your files in the employer to be accepted into the system. And once you're in there, then it also allows you to view and select the appropriate accounts. Once you've determined that, then from there you can move over to the invoices and pay my bills. You're going to have two options. You can either use the pay my bills down in the lower section there on the left side, or the main green bar, select that. Either one of them takes you to your invoices. And this is what it looks like with all your invoices loaded. All you'll need to do is check next to the appropriate invoice that you're looking to pay, the box there. It will turn green as soon as you select it. You're going to select the particular bank method that you wish to use. You're going to enter your pay date as well, and then continue to the payment transition. And this screen here is used to add or change your account information that you have currently on file with Wells Fargo. You'll just enter the data and add it to that payment method that you're looking to pay with in the future. So contribution payments are required to the retirement system by statute within 10 days of your payroll date. As we transition to the new pension administration system, online e-bill will be strongly encouraged. It's still, even now, it's very convenient for the employer. So if you haven't signed up, take a look at it, and please do. It'll be beneficial to your agency. And this will also help with any type of learning curves going forward with that. And then, of course, here's some e-bill references for more information on that for you. I'll just give you a second there to look at that. And then one thing that I'm excited to mention here is an upcoming employer workshop. This has been kind of a vision going back a few months. We've been looking at it. This is designed for those individuals who are mainly local board secretaries. We're going to have a lot of good information for you. Payroll administrators. I'm not sure how you're divided up within your agencies, anyone who enters the membership forms into the systems and so on. We're going to go more in depth than we do here. It's going to be a step-by-step process. We're going to show you how to build up your contribution file. If you submit it, if you get a red error, it's going to be live for us. We've introduced some fake members into our system, so we're not going to use anybody's PII information for this training. It is going to be web-based, as you can see up there, so you're going to do it directly from your agency. We haven't determined the exact date. We're looking for the first week in June to accomplish this, right before the new fiscal year starts. I know most of you are going to be probably extremely busy with your end of year, but we're hoping that you'll be able to attend. And we're looking to cover areas such as deferred retirement. What we're going to have is a presenter presenting, and we're also going to have someone, one of our SMEs, in the actual questionnaires. So if you're asking questions during the presentation, we're going to have somebody there answering your questions while we're still presenting. So that way there's just not a stop in it. Keep it more on schedule for you because we know your time is valuable. So look for that information coming out. Like I said, we're looking to start that. I think Joanne and I were talking maybe June 6th, if I remember that date, Joanne, thank you. So we're hoping to shoot that date for June 6th. And then from there, we'll be looking for your feedback for more and how to change this going forward to make the workshop more applicable to you and help you on your daily interactions with the public safety. So, any questions at this time? Thank you, everyone.